Imagine the unholy stench. Versailles, 1693. Summer heat baking the Hall of Mirrors into a boudoir-turned biohazard site. Rotting pheasant guts marinating in noble sweat, while some ducal idiot attempts to piss discreetly into a Ming vase worth more than your entire bloodline. Enter stage left. Herb Strewers, humanity's backup singers in the olfactory apocalypse, like if a Pinterest cottagecore board collided with a saw trap. Forget your aunt's lavender sachets. Picture some half-dead peasant crab-walking through a slurry of goose shit and aristocratic vomit, flinging time like a Roomba on meth. Official palace records blandly state their role as fragrance consultants, but let's decode that. Human febres for monarchy who ate too many eels and SHT where they danced. These weren't your local farmers market herbalists. They were trauma nurses fighting odor warfare in a building with fewer toilets than a fire festival porta-potty rush. Queen Bess gets credited for formalizing the gig. Virgin Queen, maybe. But her schnoz endured daily assaults from mud/awful/rotting rush matting smoothies. Applying for this job meant negotiating terms like compensation, tuberculosis spores, bonus. You'll develop a Pavlovian gag reflex to oysters since Duke Dumbass here projectile vomits them weekly. Forget HR. These poor suckers crawled 7 miles daily on marble harder than a Disney exec's heart, knees grinding down to bone dust, all while VIPs treated tapestries like a frat house bathroom. Versailles glamour, a lie thicker than Kardashian contour. Those gilded corridors doubled as open-air latrines, powdered wigs squatting like feral cats marking territory. Witnesses called the reek l'odeur de la mort qui sourit, death's giggle. Strewers dumped wagon loads of pennyroyal over biohazards modern science would classify as zombie armpit au jus. Chardon's pristine still lifes. That's Versailles' Instagram vs. Reality. Floors were herb-coated Petri dishes bubbling with enough bacteria to give who staff night terrors. And the workers. Picture Jean Perrette, La Strewer Royale, clocking out in 1782 like an Office Space protagonist seizing her moment, chucking her herb sack into the Grand Canal while yelling, "Let Antoinette munch cake-scented turds." Why'd the gig vanish? Not hygiene. Capitalism. Industrial perfume factories let nobles stink like dystopian Bath and Body Works without employing serfs with rug-burned knees. Final kicker. 2019 archaeologists found Versailles pipes crusted with fecal strata matching Marie's diary entry complaining about un parfum trop rustique. The translation. Her human glade registered botched the Rose-to-upper-decker ratio. So next time Karen complains about your work ethic, remember, at least your review didn't involve sniff-testing ancient regime diaper soup. Kings treated hygiene like Elon Musk treats SEC subpoenas, with performative middle fingers and open contempt. Court physician Jean Hayward's diaries confirm that French royals played fecal chicken with cholera. Henry Roman IV once went half a year without bathing, bragging his rancid musk intimidated Spaniards better than artillery. Meanwhile, historians initially misclassified the amberized sludge between Louis Roman XIII bedsheets as fossilized dinosaur ejaculate rather than recognizing it for the fermented human chowder it was. Why smear feces like it's artisanal Nutella? Blame medieval science, which declared water a Trojan horse for disease, bathing akin to signing your own death warrant in bedazzled calligraphy. Enter the Strewers, essential workers centuries before essential workers trended on Twitter, earning less than stable boys while dumping marjoram over Duke turds as nobles casually urinated into Versailles fireplaces like frat boys asserting dominance. Palace floors weren't architectural features. They were bacterial Woodstock simmering in dysentery drizzle. When Spanish ambassador Gondomar described James I's court as God's septic tank after Taco Bell's BOGO promotion, the solution involved burying vomit slicks under lavender dunes while kings shat into portable, close stools servants emptied, when they weren't tripping over gout-ridden greyhounds. 6 out of 10 royal wills contained deathbed confessions like, "I deeply regret tonguing Pope Clement's ring finger during communion." The true absurdity. Versailles, fresh air, protocol required strewers to work backwards, not for ergonomic efficiency, but because accidental eye contact with a bourbon could earn you a starring role at a guillotine gala. Workplace hazards included chronic lung fibrosis, from inhaling rose petal dust clouds that only perfumed the E. coli miasma. Recent lab analysis proves 50% of the tossed herbs were as medically effective as TikTok wellness influencers. Pure placebo pantomime, so nobles could pretend their gilded hallways weren't basically Popeye's grease traps. Modern equivalent. Picture Travis Scott's Astroworld stagehands dropping Glade plug-ins in overflowing stadium porta-potties, while Elon tweets about colonizing Mars from a sterilized panic room. Strewers were pandemic ICU nurses denied N95 masks because kingly delusions demanded Versailles remain a luxe trade biohazard. A Potemkin outhouse with better drapes. Florent Du Bois, a temporary royal strewer in 1673, rage quit mid-shift by lobbing dried valerian down Louis Roman XIV doublet while screaming, "Clean your own cholera-flavored jello shots, you powdered parasite." Why endure working conditions worse than a Foxconn factory? Because nobles viewed cleanliness like NFTs, a worthless abstraction until supply chain desperation made it profitable. Archaeologists excavating Charles Roman II bedchamber discovered fecal strata between floorboards that coincided with his diary's solemn oath. "Today, I shall not relieve myself upon the damask." Folio testing confirmed he'd broken this vow within 6 hours. Consequence, he inhaled Florent's final lavender special, an olfactory illusion as effective as trying to stop a sinking yacht by throwing Yankee Candle melts at the hull. The crowning hypocrisy. Royal stench birthed entire luxury industries. Versailles dropped 30 million livers on silk peonies for a single ball while raw sewage weeped from ceilings like a Venetian blinds of putrid fondue. Elizabeth I's ulcerous legs inspired her perfumers to invent early air wick sticks, masking her gangrene's top notes with eau de rotting brie. One chambermaid's memoir recounts fleeing mid-strew upon discovering the Queen's chamber pot had fossilized into the rug via a viscous philosopher's stone we now call Crown Reserve toffee. The final archaeological insult. Pollen analysis from Anne Boleyn's execution site shows zero botanical evidence, just pure cortisol-soaked terror aromas, because even Henry Roman VIII understood certain stenches laugh at your potpourri sachets. And the ultimate plot twist, strewers didn't vanish with modern plumbing. They were replaced by quacks selling internal steam cleaning via tobacco smoke enemas. Picture a peasant huffing Marlboro Ultra lights into Cardinal Richelieu's rectum during committee meetings. A human vape pen hired to incinerate aristocratic colons while plotting Huguenot purges. Surviving strewer guild scrolls bear their crest's motto, "We bury sin beneath rosemary." Lies. They buried collective trauma under 2 fingers of time while kings finger-painted Tudor roses using their own cholera runoff. Florent's final diary entry. Asked why Duc d'Orléans can't invest in chamber pots instead of emerald shoe buckles. Received 10 lashings. Submitted resignation via catapulting parsley into the royal fondue. By the time 1603 rolled around, the herb strewer's vocation had devolved from floral interior designer to professional nose placator, a gig that made fart-scented car fresheners seem like Nobel Prize material. Versailles' Hall of Mirrors wasn't just reflecting sunlight and powdered wigs, but Grand Duke Vladimir's gout-powered emissions that dissolved tapestries faster than a Tide Pod challenge gone wrong. Our hero Jean-Claude, 3rd generation, Rosemary Wrangler, spent his days elbow-deep in marjoram, combating what palace memos diplomatically called His Majesty's digestive reinterpretations of Duc à l'Orange. Botanists leaked reports confirming Versailles dumped 4 tons of lavender monthly, not for ambience, but because the lice in Louis Roman XIV wig developed a Roquefort-tier mold problem that attracted truffle pigs from neighboring provinces. This floral farce makes Kim Kardashian's Instagram closet look like a minimalist monk's root cellar. Monarchs commissioned rose petal carpets so dense, Diplomats wrote tearful final wills mid-stride while sinking into chamomile quicksand. Queen Christina of Sweden's coronation deployed 27 Strewers armed with industrial snowblow-style potpourri cannons to conceal her hound's avant-garde fecal installations, essentially performing a Baroque-era version of dragging a Siberian husky across a white rug live on Twitch. London's Kew Gardens recently authenticated Charles Roman II mint-coated tennis court, installed not for sporty vibes, but because his mistress's poodle used it as a bidet during high-stakes flea jousting tournaments. Peak decadence arrived when Duke Philippe d'Orléans employed Olympic-level time chuckers to sprint before his carriage not for aromatherapy, but because his compost heat breath could spontaneously ferment grape juice into vinegar. Lab techs at the Louvre just CT scan Marie de Médicis' shoe roses, discovering pressed carnation layers concealing residue labeled 50% Merlot, 50% bubonic boil juice. Royal Archives mention lavender insertion technicians trained in emergency nasal packing during gout flare-ups, the OG essential oil bros turning noble screams into herbaceous asthma tracks. Actual plumbing innovation was ignored harder than NFTs after the crypto crash. When engineers proposed flush toilets in 1689, Minister Colbert vetoed it with, "His Majesty believes flatulence should bridge class divides." Extinct Strewer invoices reveal line items worthy of a Michael Bay explosion sequence. Lemon bomb bunker busters, rosewater carpet bombing, sage-based smokescreen deployment. The grift metastasized when Parisian cafes hired disgraced Strewers to sonic season coffee with enough bergamot to disguise beans that smelled like dumpster dive taco. Meet a 17th century Starbucks unicorn frappuccino scam. Worker comp logs list 43 rosemary lung cases, which court doctors treated by prescribing "I cannot stress this enough" aggressive time huffing to align chakras, centuries before goop existed. The final rebellion in 1720 saw Strewers weaponize sachets like Banksy stunts. They flooded the Palais Royal with uneven lavender distribution so precise. The East Wing smelled like Beyoncé's dressing room, while the West Wing recreated a high school locker room's lost gym sock ecosystem. Their parting shot, a floral manifesto reading, "Let noses run free." The Cardinal's retaliatory perfume ferret program ended predictably when one terrorized polecat mistook Madame de Pompadour's wig for a mangy squirrel, detonating a diplomatic incident that birthed 3 new Habsburg family curses. And somewhere in the chaos, my great-great-great-grandpappy Bertrand Sardonicus got pink-slipped for sneezing lilac pollen into Tsar Peter's vodka, accidentally inventing history's first botanical White Russian. But let's cut to the main event, the actual job requirement that makes Amazon's pee-in-a-bottle policy look like a spa day. Backward crawls through a fecal obstacle course while maintaining pedal-perfect distribution metrics. Imagine trying to speedrun Dark Souls while blindfolded, wearing a corset made of bees and juggling nitroglycerin. Strewers were contractually obligated to retreat from royal presence exclusively in reverse, knees grinding gravel into bone dust, tossing foliage with one hand like a drunk gardener participating in a Taco Bell sauce packet challenge. Eye contact, punishable by having your nostrils sewn shut with lute strings. The true agony wasn't the physical contortion. It was knowing the Duke of Devonshire paid 6 llamas and a barrel of moldy cognac for lavender that you would shortly be using to camouflage yesterday's cod au gratin surprise from Madame's chamber pot. The aristocracy weaponized flower science like Elon Musk weaponizes Twitter algorithms. 16th century payrolls reveal hazard pay, avoisin des pots de chamber, extra shillings for Strewers who could dodge upper floor, nocturnal surprise packages, lobbed with Olympian accuracy by servants who'd bet their dental hygiene on hitting the moving herb target. Court chaplains declared it divinely ordained confetti, a proving grifters appropriated God long before televangelists monetized hell. Watch an ex-Strewer reenact the trauma in modern times, and you'd swear they're doing the world's worst TikTok dance trend. Crab walking butt first through a minefield of manure-scented roses, arms windmilling marigolds like a seizure at a gender reveal party. Royal logs confirm 17 workers perished not from plague or sword, but slip and falls on rogue petals, mankind's first participation trophy for Darwin Award contenders. My thrice-divorced Aunt Geraldine recreated this ritual at her fourth wedding. Instead of rice, she had the groom's family toss aspirin. Symbolism wasn't subtle. The true horror. They did it for scraps. Strewer Guild records excavated in 2003 list wages as one slightly stomped artichoke per lunar cycle, plus the privilege of not being disemboweled for asymmetrical marjoram placement. Meanwhile, kings literally pissed liquid gold into those chamber pots. Versailles' plumbing system was just a Game of Thrones spin-off waiting to happen. That herb-strewn path, a rolling indictment of humanity's kink for performative suffering. And here's your bleak truth fossilized in lavender oil. Societies collapse not from invasion or famine, but when elites become so breathlessly bored, they turn basic bodily functions into spectator sports requiring floral censorship. Kinda like how modern billionaires launch dildo-shaped rockets while teachers ration pencils. Meet the new boss, same as the old boss, just with better aromatherapy and worse healthcare. The extinction event arrived not with a bang but a lab coat-clad mic drop in 1864, when Louis Pasteur vivisected their entire profession with one merciless PowerPoint slide. Germs. Imagine being a herb strewer watching the British Medical Journal officially classify your life's work as botanical confetti atop a biohazard. May as well have published your obituary with a scratch and sniff plague footnote. Overnight, centuries of petal tossing got Thanos snapped into the same oblivion as bloodletting and Republican accountability. My great-great-granduncle Fergus, last strewer in Edinburgh, died heartbroken when surgeons replaced his rosewater spray with carbolic acid. His tombstone: he made cholera smell like lavender, damn it. The killshot irony. While hospitals banished strewers for releasing anthrax party favors, executioners kept them employed. London's last professional herb tosser, one Ethelbert Grimsby, spent 1882 to 1903 sprinkling thyme around guillotines like a deranged wedding planner staging snuff Pinterest boards. Official justification: Mass King the Unai, aroma of fi architi, finally answering history's dumbest hypothetical. Yes, you can put lipstick on a decapitated pig. Modern parallel: Elon Musk selling flamethrowers while pledging carbon neutrality. Society never cancels cruelty, just rebrands it with potpourri. Let's autopsy the corpse of this career with surgical contempt. Their death certificate listed cause: acute obsolescence triggered by basic F-seeking science. Yet the Guild's final memo pleaded for reinstatement, arguing petals lift prisoner morale, before beheadings basically Elizabethan fidget spinners for existential dread. Foundational logic: if Disney World pumps churros sent onto death row tourists, why not marinate actual death row in bergamot? Humanity's compass spins faster than a king's diarrhea during dysentery season. Should we mock them? Please. Modern wellness: influencers hawk crystal enemas for monkeypox. The matrix glitches, but the grift's eternal. So when historians ask why herb strewers vanished, punch them in the GD-damn throat with this truth: professions don't die from progress. They suicide bomb themselves onto the pyre of stubborn nostalgia. See Blockbuster suing Netflix for aesthetic copyright infringement, or priests still demanding tithes after the Pope joined TikTok. Final proof: London's Strand Theatre employed a lemon peel stomper until 1926 to neutralize audience flatulence through citrus osmosis. Spoiler: crowds just farted harder to test the theory. We are cockroaches in corsets, forever polishing doorknobs on sinking ships. Your bleak takeaway: societies upgrade their delusions like iPhones, slightly thinner, equally fragile. Herb strewers became aromatherapy salesmen. Guillotine perfume consultants now run anti-vax MLMs. The executioner's bouquet is today's executive stress relief lavender desk diffuser. The cruelties the same, just outsourced to Amazon drones. So smash that subscribe button before our species invents a dumber way to garnish the apocalypse. I hear NFT-scented candles are trending.